Hi, I'm Hobie-One. This is Red Chair Reading. Today I'm reading the Black Book of Secrets by F.E. Higgins, Chapter 35, fragment from the memoirs of Ludlow Fitch. Let's go. As soon as Jeremiah was gone, I turned to Joe. Even now I still couldn't piece the puzzle together. All I knew was that he had let Jeremiah walk away with his most precious possession. No, I thought, my most precious possession, too. That book was now part of my very existence. I couldn't stop myself, and blinded by rage and disappointment, I beat upon Joe's chest with my fists. Why did you let him take it? You know how he will use it. Joe shook me off gently and infuriated me with a smile. Calm down, Ludlow, don't you understand? This is what we've been waiting for. He poured another brandy. I had never seen him drink more than one, threw back his head, and swallowed it in one go. I have to say the fellow had me worried somewhat. I thought he would have been up here days ago. It would have saved a lot of trouble. He has certainly taken his time. Confused, angry, and burning with questions, I was determined to find the truth. You mean you wanted him to do this? It's not what I want, said Joe. It's what Jeremiah wants. If nothing else, he was true to his nature. That man cannot bear others to have what he desires. You're talking in riddles again. Just tell me what's really going on. I deserve to know. What do you want to know, Ludlow? What is it you think I have kept from you? His calm disarmed me. My anger dissipated, and I became flustered. Lots of things. You said you weren't a blackmailer, yet you asked Jeremiah for a secret. Just like Polly said. Would you have paid him, too? Joe looked mildly shocked. I expected better of you than that. Jeremiah, for all his faults, deserves a chance, like everyone else, to gain relief from his troubles. Do you think that his innate cruelty prevents him from feeling remorse? I had to give him the opportunity. It is part of what I do. The opportunity to do what? To say he was sorry. And if he had, what then? Well, if he had told me a secret, then I should have paid him. Rules are rules. Things would have been different, of course. As it is, he has only himself to blame. I tutted with exasperation. Tut, tut, I said. And just what are these rules you live by? He remained silent. Who are you, Joe? The truth will come later. I promise you that, he said finally. What is important now is that you go to retrieve the book. I laughed sarcastically. And how am I to do that? You'll find a way, but you better hurry. He must be halfway down the hill already. You're not coming with me? Joe shook his head. I have played my part. Now it is your turn. I threw up my hands in frustration, but I didn't waste another second. Whatever else I wanted to say to Joe, it could wait. He was right. I had to get the black book back. The secrets of the whole village, and others were in there. Jeremiah already knew Perigos and Horatios and Obadiahs, but what about everyone else? There were so many secrets. I realized that, until now, I had thought of this whole business as a sort of game that Joe and I were playing with the villagers, all of us pitted against Jeremiah Ratchet. But it wasn't a game any longer. It was deadly serious. I had written their confessions, and now it was up to me to save them. So I ran out of the door and down the hill, skidding and slipping and cursing in my head both Jeremiah and Joe, and plagued by terrible doubt. Maybe Job Wright hadn't been so far off the mark. Maybe Joe was using the villagers, and I had been too blind to see it, selfishly hanging on to this new life, so desperate for a real father that I had ignored what was going on right under my nose. Was this punishment for taking what I didn't deserve? But it still didn't make sense. If this is interesting to you, please be sure to boop the like button. You'll help the video spread to other people. And thank you very much. It's not about the money, I said to the knight. There has to be another reason. Jeremiah had already gone inside. But in his haste, the latch hadn't caught, so I slipped into the hall and followed his trail of wet footprints to the study. I squatted down just inside the door and watched as he settled in the chair. There was meat pie somewhere, close by, and the smell made my mouth water. I didn't know what I was going to do. My heart beat so loudly, I thought it would give me away. I could see the top of his head, and I could hear pages turning. Soon it would be too late. He would know everything. I heard the book snap shut and saw a page flutter to the floor. He leaned forward to pick it up. He said something, then groaned and fell back into the chair. All I could hear now was his noisy wheezing. I don't know how long I waited before tiptoeing over. He was so still, I wondered if he had fallen asleep. I stood right in front of him. His eyes were open, and for a second I expected him to grab me. But he just sat there, a terrible sight to behold. His face was white, and his breathing was harsh and rattling. I knew I was looking at a dying man. Who's there?" he mumbled, and I could hardly hear him. I bent down and picked up the book from the floor. "Who has done this to you?" I asked. Slowly Jeremiah's dry lips formed a silent word: "Joe." There was nothing else I could do, so I left. That is the end of chapter 35. Thank you for joining me. Join me again, please, for chapter 36. Bye.